What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Jet's Fishing Adventures. And I have to apologize to y'all. My uploading has not gone to plan. There's a dove flying overhead. It's September 1st. Hope everybody's enjoying. Dove season opens up at 12 o'clock today, so good luck if you're going dove hunting. But anyway, sorry that I've not been uploading. I've been working a lot on my drag racing truck for the second channel that I've started. I've not uploaded a video on that channel, but in the future we're getting ready for Mow Party, September 13th to the 15th. So if you're in Bowling Green or around that area, come on out and spend some time with us. But I've been trying to get the truck ready for that, and I just haven't had the time to upload to film a video. So I'm very, very sorry for that. But in this video, we're gonna go over my top 3 baits for the month of September. I can't believe August has already went by. It's been a hot one. And typically in September, we'll start getting those crisper mornings where you might even have to wear a hoodie depending on where you're at in the country. Tennessee weather can be hot, but in the morning times, it's usually kind of cool. Probably in that kind of 60s to low 70 range. The water temp, however, will start kind of declining, and that's a good thing for the fishing. The fishing in September can be amazing, and it can be a really fun time. Definitely at a Tennessee River system with the grass. The grass will start dying out, and it'll actually cheese over, and that's where you can really have some fun on the Tennessee River system. And it's just September into October is my favorite time to fish. Some of the things you need to look for, though, is the bait. The bait will start going up in the back of coves in that fall transition. Now, depending on what part of the country you're in, it can be different time zone. But September usually kind of consists of a transition into the fall transition. Like in early to mid-September, you'll still have the fish in the summer patterns, but the shallow water bite typically gets better. And if you know me, that's how I fish. I love shallow water fishing, and it's just fun to me. But September can be a fun time to fish. It can be hunting season is starting up, so you'll have a lot less traffic on the water from a lot of the fishermen and the wake boats. This weekend is Labor Day weekend, and that's kind of the official end to summer. So all the traffic on the lake will start declining as the September rolls on. And it's just a fun time to be out on the water. But without further ado, let's jump into this video. Alright, so September, like I've said, can be really fun. And one of the best ways to catch fish when the water temp's starting to get down and they go shallow is a topwater. You can fish any topwater really, but one of my favorite ways to catch them, definitely when they start schooling up, is a spook style bait. This is an evergreen shower blows. If I can get it off. It's a shower blows. It is a 77 size. It's a little bit smaller size. The reason behind I like using this is if you look around this time of year, a lot of the bait fish are real small, and you'll see a ton of them. But the bait fish is about half the size of this, so you kind of have a bigger profile. And if you're not familiar with fishing a lot, there's a saying that goes along: match the hatch. And that is one way you can match the hatch with a topwater. And if you've never caught a fish on topwater, it is just amazing. You sit there and watch them blow up. But this bait right here is a smallmouth killer. Definitely on lakes that have a lot of rock, around laydowns. And you can fish that around grass that is not topped out. But this is a very fun way to catch them. And I usually start this time of year on points early in the morning. The bait like to gather up on points, and you just throw out and work around the point with this topwater, and then you can go and fish a more finesse technique if you're not catching them. But as you know, I fished this on a 7'3" medium heavy Cashin Elite Series rod. I love this rod for topwater. I love this rod for about any technique, to be honest. It's a very versatile rod. It's actually a worm and jig rod, but this tip is very flexible, a lot of bend to it, and it's just an awesome way to fish a topwater treble hook bait. You can fish a light Texas rig with it, a light jig with it. It's just an awesome all-around rod. I have it paired up with a Lew's BB1 Pro. Love this reel, and I got it paired up with 30-pound Seaguar Smackdown in the gray color. Awesome setup. I've won a lot of money on this rod, and it just hasn't let me down. I should have broken this rod about 4 different times, but casting makes a really good quality rod, a tough rod, and in a kayak, it's very tough conditions, and this rod has lasted through it all. If it breaks the next hook set, I will not be sad. All right, moving on to number 2. The fishing, if they're not hitting topwater, they're probably just suspended in big bait balls. And if you want to match the hatch, there's no better way to do it than a swim bait. Just your classic swim bait. This is a Torrent Thresher 4.2. Now, those bait fish right now are typically really small, so this might be a little bit big, but the cool thing about this Torrent Thresher is you can cut it down to whatever size you want. This is just your stock 4.2 size. I love this little swim bait. The little tail wobbles so good in the water, and you can actually take off the paddle tail and use it as a jerk bait if you want. But this is a really good scoping bait as well. If you have forward facing sonar, you can take the little tail off and just sit there and jig it back. But on a swim bait style, I've caught a lot of fish. That is in the pure white color. They have several different colors. Royalty is one of them that I really like. So if you've never tried Thresher or Torrent Outdoors baits, try this one. It's a really good bait. But I got it paired up with a VMC Half Moon swim bait head. It's got a 90-degree line tie on it. It's a really good Damiki rig swim bait as well. Or a swim bait hook, if you want to just drop it down and jig it. But I like to throw it out. It skips really well up under docks and everything. And I like to just throw it out and just reel it in. Maybe give it a little bit of an Alabama shake. But I got it paired up with a Cashin, with another Cashin. This is the Icon series. It's actually a crankbait rod, but it's a 7'6" medium heavy modern. I really like this rod because of the length. Swim baits, and this time of year you'll see a lot of fish start schooling up and they'll start busting on shad. Well, with this length, this 7'6", you can get a real long cast and put it in that feeding zone without your boat getting up into it and ruining the fishing. So that's why I have it on a real long rod. Skipping with this rod can be a little bit of a challenge, but once you get the hang of it, it's real easy. But I love this rod. It's a 7'6" medium heavy. I got it paired up with a Daiwa Tatula, and I got it paired with 15-pound Seaguar Tatsu. Love that line. It is a tad bit expensive, but it's really worth it. This is actually a 6-to-3 gear ratio. You don't really want a fast gear ratio, at least with me, because I tend to overwork my baits. I'll sit there and reel. In a kayak, you know, the kayak's moving a lot, so I like a little slower ratio. Hook sets can be kind of interesting because when you hook set them, you got to reel real quick if they're coming in. But I think I have the ability to reel really quick, other than reel really slow with a higher gear ratio. But this is an awesome setup to fish swim baits this time of year. All right, on to number 3. We have one of my favorite baits to catch fish, and it's been one of my favorite baits since I started fishing, and that is a shaky head. I love fishing a shaky head, definitely this time of year, really any time of the year. It's a great bait to fish, and it's a great bait to fish if you're a beginner. It's a very simple technique. Throw it out, let it sink to the bottom, and then just kind of shake it a little bit coming back. Or what I like to do, I just like to drag it back and give it a few hops. If you know me, I've been a big fan of Owner hooks, and I've got it paired up with an Owner Ultra Shake. I like a 3/16 to 1/8 ounce, and I love fishing it with the Torrent Outdoors Striker 6.0. The tail on these baits are just awesome on a shaky head. They set straight up and they float, so they stay straight up like that, and the tip just sits there and wags just up and down. Great bait to if the fish are not very active and they're kind of wanting to just you have to let it soak. This is a great bait to do so because it works with just a little bit of current, a little bit of shake. Where I fish this a lot this time of year is around laydowns, around grass edges. One of my favorite ways to fish this time of year with a shaky head is just flipping around grass edges. A lot of people don't do that, so I think the fish don't see that very often, and you can catch a lot of fish, and you can go behind people and catch fish doing that technique. But this is one of my all-time favorite ways to fish. I also like to fish around points on it with a shaky head. So if you've noticed, I've talked about points 3 different times in my 3-bait video, in this 3-bait video. So what I do is I come up, start on a point, fish with the spook, then switch to Swimbait if I'm not caught anything, or a crankbait. Then I'll switch to a finesse technique with a shaky head or a jig. Either two things work a lot alike. So, shaky head is more finesse, and you catch more fish, but you can catch some giants, as you've seen when I caught that 22 incher at Percy Priest. This is a very fun bait and a very easy bait to fish if you're kind of newer too. I got it paired up with an ALX Wizard spinning reel with a 13 fishing spinning reel with a spinning rod. This is 7'2" medium fast action. It's got a kind of a moderate tip, but it's got a real good backbone, so you can really set the hook on them and get that kind of bigger hook driven through. I got it paired up with 15-pound Seaguar Smackdown line with a 10. I'll run anywhere between an 8 to 12-pound leader, and it's typically in Vizex or a Brazex if I know I'm going to be fishing around a lot of laydowns. But this bait right here is a shaky head's a real fun way. You can skip docks with it, fish points, you can fish laydowns, grass, and it really all depends on what kind of size hook or size weight you're using. But it's just a fun way to fish, and you can do a lot of stuff with it. You can actually run a swim bait. I've ran a swim bait on this and just kind of hop the bottom, definitely at like Dell Hollow. It's a very fun way to fish, and it's probably my favorite way to fish, and probably the bait that I've won the most money off of. All right, so if you know, I like to throw in that one last one to kind of make it a little bit fun. Well, this time it's not really a unique bait or a big bait. It's just a bait that I've caught a lot of fish on, I've had a lot of confidence in, and you can catch some really good fish fishing offshore with it, fishing up shallow, around docks, anything. It's a very versatile bait. If you know me and you know how I like to fish, you probably already know what I'm going to say, but that is a jig. I absolutely love fishing a jig, particularly a bad boy jig. This bait right here is a very fun way to catch some good fish and a lot of fish. This is a Junkyard Dog color from Bad Boy Jig. If you're familiar with the Junkyard Dog, it's won a lot of money over the years, and it's won a lot of money in KBF 10. A lot of anglers that cash checks consistently are throwing one, and it's just a fun way to fish. I usually pair it up with a Torrent Outdoors Timber Crawl. Real good little bait to throw on a jig. It kind of swims back, and it's got a real good action when you're just sitting there hopping it. The reason why it's my number 4 is because you can do a lot of things with it. You can skip docks, you can skip laydowns, you can go offshore with them with a little bit bigger one, like this one right here. It's about a 3/4 ounce and a 1/2 ounce. I usually run about a 1/4 ounce to a 3/4, depending on what I'm fishing. I'm fishing up shallow, running the 1/4 ounce. I'm fishing deep, 3/4 ounce. But these baits are a very efficient way to catch big fish and to just fill your limit. I usually switch to a jig after I have a limit to get that kicker fish, and it's a fun fit. It's a fun way to catch it. It's very an aggressive bite, and I usually fish it all over the place. You can swim them back. You can do the little Alabama shake, hop it back. It's just a very versatile bait. The setups that I use, we'll start with the lighter jig first. This is a 7'2", 7'3" medium heavy fast action. It's actually the Icon worm and jig rod by Cashin. Really good rod. I got it paired up with an SLX reel and 30-pound Seaguar braid. And then the leader size, I use 15 to 20-pound Tatsu or a Brazex, depending on what I'm fishing. If it's grass, I'm fishing Tatsu. If it's a lot of laydowns, a real abrasive area, I'm fishing a Brazex. The bigger jigs and to mid-size jigs, I'm using a ALX toad face. This is a 7'2" medium heavy plus with a fast action. This is actually their frog rod, but it's an awesome jig rod too. I'll run this straight braid or with a leader, typically a 20-pound to 17-pound, a Brazex. A lot of times, depending on water clarity, I'll just run straight braid. And if you're worried about the fish seeing the braid, you can take a black Sharpie and just run it down about 1 foot to 2 foot of this line, and depending on what water depth you're fishing, they'll be invisible. But most of the time I run a leader on this, and it's just a mental thing. But a jig is a very fun way to catch them, and it's probably my second favorite way to catch fish, and it's just a fun way to catch them. Well, that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching, and I'm really sorry that I have not uploaded for pretty much the whole month of August. It's been hot outside. I got a lot of video, I just need to edit it. So next week, the Tennessee Bass Nation on Old Hickory, it should be uploaded around the Tuesday to Wednesday mark. And after that, I got a trip that I went down to Gunnersville on. That was a fun trip. I caught a good one. I was kind of pre-fishing for the Tennessee Bass Nation, so be on the lookout for that video. And after that week, that'll be Mo Party, so I'll be racing. And like I said before, if you're around that area or would like to come in, just holler at me. We can hang out, and it's a fun time. If you like drag racing like me, you like any kind of racing, there's a lot of racing there, and it's all Mopars. So just come on down and let's hang out. But thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. But before you leave, make sure to comment what your favorite bait to fish in the month of September is. And I just like to see what y'all are throwing. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all next week.